is the amazing Raging Cajun Asians, Michelle and Victoria.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining the Random Reality Star podcast.
Sorry.
So my first question is always talk about your casting process. Why did you guys pick each other as partners? Because you said that you obviously weren't very close growing up, and I couldn't even imagine running with my sibling. So why did you?
Well, they wanted both of us. They didn't just want one person. They wanted us as a team.
We're very complete opposite. So hey.
I mean, they don't want the same person running the race together.
Yeah.
You know, they need different people.
I think some dramatics would be more interesting than happy-go-goody all the time, don't you think?
Yeah, so what kind of stood out in your casting process, and were you found, or what did you always want to audition, or was it?
I was found. I am a young minority female that's been in the auto industry for almost a decade now. I've been selling BMWs for almost 10 years, and I'm in a male-dominant industry, and I've survived. Well, I do well now for what I do, and it's one of those things you have to have really, really, really tough skin to do what I do. And she audits physicians. She finds doctors' mistakes, which is it's very difficult to find those mistakes, and she's very particular in those kind of things. But yes, found Louisiana minorities. I guess it was hey, we're Asian, first generation here too, and growing up in the States, our last name New Land came from Vietnam to a new land. So not only growing up here, being the newbies of everything, we went to school and finished school single, special souls to want to be with us every day. But
not me. I'm normal.
No.
Her, he's dramatic, so
normal.
Takes a lot.
But yeah, we're found and seeked. But now we're diehard fans for life, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously going into casting, you obviously can't talk to any of the teams before the starting line and before you're obviously racing. So I want to know, what was your first impressions of any of the teams, and were they wrong?
I was worried about Hung and Chi, and I wasn't wrong because, I mean, look at them. They finished second.
Yeah, I was oh, they look super smart.
Yeah.
But then when I saw Kelly LaVon stretching and bouncing in the park, I was like, oh, darn. I was like, they look like they can run. I mean, I feel like I look athletic, going up. But see, they're Olympian runners. So I was right on that point too. So it's hard to really judge everybody, the book by its cover. But after getting to know anybody, it's good to see how different anybody you can judge from.
So I gotta ask about before that scene. So going into the race, what did you expect, and then how did it kind of change your perception, when you're running it, throughout it? I guess you could say. What did you expect going in?
Oh, we weren't ready. We had no idea. Now, hey, in the future, if will there be totally different.
The thing is, you can train all you want, but you don't know what to train for the race. Everything's a surprise.
You don't know what to pack. They don't give you a packing list. And of course, we felt that I have to have a curling iron. I'm not giving up my night cream. Sorry. Some people running without deodorant. I was spraying in the airport. Smell good stuff. I believe that's an important feel and deal. We had wash bags for our clothes. I mean, that makes a huge difference. Having clean clothes. A long run, they're jelly.
And even though after every leg we get a 12-hour window, that doesn't mean you sleep for 12 hours. That means you have to wash your clothes, do everything. We're barely sleeping because our alarm clock is our watch, so we're making sure it's gonna wake us up. And call time could be okay, meet in the lobby at 3 a.m. So we're not sleeping at all.
Oh no, and us, I have to have a good 30-minute window before the real wake up time to get face, hair. It's not just wake up. Some people just wake up crusty-eyed and roll with the flow. That's not happening with me with those HD cameras.
Yeah,
not happening.
Well, it's funny because I actually interview people even ranging from season 1 to now. So it's funny because even in those earlier days, people oversleep their alarms and they miss their departure time. So it's funny about how paranoid everybody is about that.
Yeah, and you can't really have a solid sleep. I've never not woke up to an alarm and I feel rested. It was all hey, let's go, let's roll. And you have to pack up everything, tighten it down, everything in your backpack and roll.
So talk to me about the Wolfgang Puck scene because I was dying laughing on YouTube.
Oh, I'm so traumatized. See, editing makes a huge difference, and that's Vittoria knows that's not how it rolls. He was having full on conversation with me, like, oh, crayfish, Louisiana, all this stuff too. And like, I've been watching Food Network channel since I was a kid, so I was like, did you see who that is? Victoria's like, no. I was like, that's Wolfgang Puck. I was like, and all, not seeing anybody. I was kind of a little starstruck too, but they made me look like a little psycho, but I was not, He was like, hello. I was like, hello. And I was all excited, but it was a full down sit conversation. I mean, he signed a disclosure. If you sign a disclosure saying, oh yeah, he's all about being in the edit and being on TV with me, that's an important thing too. But hopefully I made him proud in the cooking scene for sure in Brazil.
Yeah, like I've watched Food Network a lot, so I knew who he was. And so I was like, this is obviously edited because you can tell it's like cut into different sections just based on the camera and stuff. And so I'm like, what really happened? Because this poor girl is just getting completely like shut down. I'm like, that can't be the case. So
oh no, it's okay. I didn't get shut down. It was good. It was a good combo. He was like all about
it. Made it seem like he just like walked up and like left, but he was boarding his flight.
Yeah, they called, boarded his flight. He was like, good luck and all this stuff. He was like, bye. And it was a good truth-wise. So I'm good.
So how funny, you guys obviously had a really good attention to detail. So going into like one, how funny was you guys like crushed the fish detour, and how much fun was that just seeing everybody struggle and eat your dust?
Oh my gosh.
No, she knew the colors. Yeah. I was the one making.
I memorized the code and the color combination, and she'd really pick up everything. She'd say, is it this one?
I just remember the first color. The first color was the only thing I was like, and I was like saying blue, red, green, yellow, like I was making a ruckus in the water, but we're swimmers.
LaVon was saying like, yeah, like I got my color combinations memorized, and then people kept yelling colors in the background. I was like, oh my God, it was her yelling the colors, like red, yellow, green, yellow,
red, green, and I was like, wait, is this one? And finally I was like, what's the code? I was like going in, I was like, yeah, but like, she's got the legs and their arms. Like we were like swimming. We might not.
But the funny thing is, like when we got to get the boat, they're like, okay, you can go and put on your swimsuits, and we're like, oh no, we don't have time for that. Like we're jumping in the boat. So like,
but we have aqua shoes on.
Yeah,
so those are cool.
But so it felt good to be on the first flight. But we got the slowest taxi because of her.
Yeah, that's my fault.
So we were the last ones to the pond, to the lake part. And then we were the first ones to leave from that group. So we're like, yeah,
so like that. But
yeah. So how pissed were you when you had to do the steel drums? Because I
don't even bring it up. I was so traumatized too. It's like, hey, my mom saw it, my band directors, everybody, because we've been playing music since we were young. But I'm good. Lesson learned. You
did great.
Thank you. I was like, oh, be my metronome, like.
Well.
And it wasn't really music, and it was not even notes. It was just letters. There was no rhythmic, written stuff on the paper at all. And I was like, what is this? And it was like number coded. So I'm used to reading like I can read music. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like you read, hey, the letters that they put out. So I'm not used to that either, but I think it was okay. Lesson learned.
Well, was it really difficult? Because the way that I looked at it, like apparently it was raining after a while, but I thought it was more of like memory, because you could have just been like 1, whatever number is next line, whatever numbers there are, and just like sing a song and then just like do it or whatever and then like get it done. So was it really difficult? And how annoyed were you not winning that? No, it wasn't difficult
because we were in the marching band and we actually read music and moved and played.
A lot. Like you just did like one round.
Yeah, I only did a little bit of practicing and I got on a second try. There are people that did how many times? Like so many times. They didn't timestamp that. Yeah, you notice the other teams came in when after the sun went down. We've been taking a nap and ate our fish soup. Victoria took a nap, woke up, and we were like waking up for other people. They didn't timestamp the steel drums for sure, but they still timestamp everything else, and we epic fail like looked at. So, well, that's all I gotta say about it. But we did good.
So
and
how bad? How bad were those goats? That was my next question. Because
they were powerful, and I was like, "Do not let go, Victoria." I was like, "Do not."
I was trying to like talk to them and calm them down. Like
that's why I was like, "I love goat cheese," because the only thing I could think about was like, "Ooh, I love, Indian food," and that's the only thing goats in, and like Victoria don't eat them, So I'm like, "Oh, be calm." be sweet with the goat and running. So I was like running.
But you know, the funny thing is, like, since we were the second team to the goats, they were so strong. But by the I think the blondes were telling me by the time they got to the goats were so tired, they were pulling the goats like, come on, let's go. And I was like, oh my gosh, we almost died.
Like, because Victoria's got those long legs. She was like striding, and I'm like, oh, going. That's why I was like, I love goat cheese, to like, hey, calm down the goat to maybe like me a little bit more. But no, it was like, no, I'm not saying that.
Well, I would have been terrified because it's almost like walking your dog times like 10 when he sees another dog and he's like barking and tries to get off your leash. And so I'm like,
it's
dear
like
God.
there's a gate, and like they're just waiting for the gates to open.
They're like shaking,
like,
and they wouldn't let us wrap the strap around our hand because they would take our hands off. So you really had to like hold on.
So going into the second leg, were you like annoyed that you had to keep on racing? And then how bad was like going into the mine and doing all that stuff?
We weren't mad that we had to keep on racing.
No, because we didn't know what we were going into because it's our first time go around. But the mine, we're from Louisiana. We're below sea level. Like, we really couldn't breathe. I thought like it was because we weren't up to par to our athleticism, but no, it was like we're like heaving over, like breathe. We couldn't like gasp for air. Like, but then we found out that everybody else kind of struggled with it too. The mines were kind of traumatizing for sure.
So was clown school really fun, or did you think it was like awful?
Was what?
Clown school.
Oh, I'm afraid of heights. And fun fact, I had to use the bathroom so bad, like since we left the salt mine to the university. And then I was like, is there a restroom? And she's like,
we're in a race.
But it's a race. And I'm like, you're so right. I'm just going to pee my pants.
Yeah, that's it. No, it was bad. We're like, ooh, gotta hold it. And you don't just stop and go look because we were looking for that way too. But you did awesome.
Thank you.
I was like nervous. I was like, oh God. Because she was never a waitress or a bartender or anything her whole entire life. And that's me, like all day. Like, hey, throughout college. And of course, she's holding a tray with drinks. And then when you put the bottle of wine on there, I was like, oh Lord, baby Jesus, you know. But you did awesome.
So did you have like a strategy like going into like who's going to do what roadblock? Because I know I'm friends with the one team that was on season 31, and they were like, you're going to do driving, you're going to do heights, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, or was it just like spontaneous?
That's what we planned to do, but it just ended up working the way it did, you know? It was just like every other one, like you go, I go, you go, I go.
But we know who has the strength of certain things, but I guess I'm definitely the driver and the heights person because this is how I see it. They're more afraid of me losing my life than me dying, so nothing's going to really happen if I jump off of anything or climb up on anything. Not really a lot of fears going into that, but Vix is the puzzle person. When it comes to puzzle, it's like, like nope, she's puzzle all day. And Scrabble words, it's her all day, but me.
I know, when I saw that sauerkraut one, I was like, oh my God, I would have gotten that. But like, then I would have died in the building.
Yeah, but we just decide who's best at the time. Yeah. I think we did well.
Yeah, so how satisfying was it just to not only rewatch, but you're doing the like fix the truck roadblock and you got it on like your first try and like a bunch of people are struggling? Like how satisfying was that? Was it just like really funny?
No, that was great. I think we did good.
I didn't know other people struggled with the horn. Like,
I know.
I mean, it said in the clue. That's why we were like, wait, what?
And to detail, we're able to tall and reach everything. Plus, I'm in car world, so I have a lot of detail to like looking at people's trades and, you know, accents, like, hey, compare to see what's different on what. And we did great on it. It was a good team play. Like, hey, help do this. And we didn't really need tools to put on the rear fenders. Like, I knew like what to do exactly to kind of put parts together. So I thought we were very strong on that too.
So after that, like you go to Brazil and you guys kind of struggled with it, or you go to the Amazon, you guys kind of struggled with this. Why was it so difficult to find the marketplace? And do you think in general, like that was your like weakness? Maybe like, obviously we see in the Amazing Race, they have like the clue box and stuff. And a lot of the clues that you guys struggled to find, they didn't really have a clue box. It was like a vase or something else. So why do you think it was like so difficult to find the clues? Or do you guys think it was just like your argument? Kind of?
Because we're normally handed the clue like after we
and think about it. A person's always giving us a clue and we'll look for a person. That's why we're in there looking for it necessarily. But at the market, you got to understand all the other teams were helping each other. Oh, what market square this? What stand? Where's this? And we don't speak a lick of Spanish at all. We did the whole
thing like
the shopping by ourselves. I'm a great shopper, but not in a different language. And I did a bad thing. I put the shopping list, I stuffed it in my kind of bra, I guess, in my shirt, and it disintegrated afterwards. And that was an issue too. But we got all of our stuff on the list.
Oh, that's not good. So I guess you forgot your stuff just because you were so panicked and everything and all that stuff, or you just did not read the clue or something.
Because like when you're on the race, you just try to focus on like, okay, what do you have to do now? What do you like? You don't look at the whole picture. Like you don't like looking back now. Like you say like, okay, we grocery shop. So what are we gonna do with that food? But at that time, you don't think about that. Like you're just like, okay, that's a task. Just grocery shop. Like we don't think like we're gonna cook with it later. Like it just doesn't like. We don't comprehend everything.
And we didn't have any help either.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, we're not the only ones that forgot our bags. They forgot their bags, but like went back.
But they all got help. They had somebody like, don't forget your bags with your bags. And we're alone. I mean, all the challenges, we didn't have any issues. We flew through everything. Guess it's just getting there.
Yeah, so talk to me. There was an under boat incident with Hug and Chi. Was there more that what we saw with that? Because you were pissed. They were trying to take your boat or something.
Like, where's her boat, bro? I was like, oh, so obviously they're gonna take our boat. How are we gonna get back? I mean, I was just being defensive and being strong about it towards like, oh, give her our boat. So then I was worried, okay, so later on when we finish, where's our boat gonna be? They took our boat. So that's why I was just being defensive, but I didn't know there was a hole. But our boat driver was kind of very loyal to us, legit to us. They helped us out too. But yeah, I didn't want to let it go because you don't know. We got there quickly. We had our boat. Obviously something happened to their boat. So I just didn't want to let it go just in case. If she got hostile, I got hostile too, whatever.
Yeah, was there anything that we didn't get to see from that? Because it was funny because they were like, are you guys coming or are you leaving? And I would have just completely lied and just been like, none of your business. Like, or I would be like, what are you doing? And then just say the exact same thing, like reverse psychology. So like with anything,
they knew that we were coming. A lot of people thought we were there already. They didn't think that we were behind them. That's why we didn't get U-turn from the beginning. But I think we did okay once we got there. The whole cooking challenge got kind of a little psycho in the kitchen, but we finished very quickly.
So how cool was it just going to the Amazon and seeing that warrior kind of like shoot the clue down and you got to do all the cooking stuff? Was that maybe like your favorite place to travel like culturally as far as like the race, or like how cool was that? Or were you just like, I can't?
It was so hot. We're like, our blood is naturally tropical already from Vietnam, but we live in Louisiana. We have hot, humid, heat weather all the time, and we're used to that. But it was hot, and we're in all black. That didn't really help at all either. It was super hot.
Yeah, well, I'm from South Carolina too, so I completely get like the heat and all that other stuff. Like I can't even imagine.
Louisiana is more south. It's hot, the humid. You can taste the air down here.
I can't even imagine wearing like all black and doing all that stuff like when it's really hot. I bet you're obviously you don't want to get eliminated from the race, but I bet you're kind of secretly glad that you weren't in like Germany and Kazakhstan or wherever that place was where it's like,
oh no, we're ready. We're ready. I mean, we were ready with our winter stuff. Don't get me wrong. That's why our book sacks were big. I mean, we had stuff ready for the winter time too, but wearing black makes us look slender. That's more important to me. I'd rather look skinny. Well, I'd rather look skinny than look big all day. Shoot.
I would rather just get by and survive. I'm surprised that people care about how they look, but it's funny that it's funny about the clown thing. I totally forgot about that, where you're like, you don't want to go to the bathroom, because there was one team, I don't know if you know, from Amazing Race season 14, and they got eliminated in the final four right before the final leg because a woman had to go to the porta potty and go to the bathroom, and another team ended up passing them and they got booted.
Oh, I didn't know.
That is an Amazing Race lesson. Always never go to the bathroom. They came back a couple seasons later and ended up winning, but
awesome.
So that was pretty funny. But going into the Paraguay leg, you guys had some taxi troubles. How were you able to kind of switch taxis? Were you just near the thing or whatever? Because when I talked to Kayla and Haley, and when I listened to a podcast with Kelly and Levon, in the second leg, they weren't able to switch taxis because they're marked. So, like, was that just, like, luck of the draw? Because when I was talking to
Oh
Keelan,
no, he straight up told us to get out of the taxi because he didn't know where we were going, so we were getting out. If he didn't know where we were going, I was gonna get another taxi.
Oh, at the beginning?
Yeah.
oh yeah, so you
But they did bring us, they didn't show us getting lost like the blondes, and we were just as lost as the
Yeah,
blondes. They brought us to a dumpster.
Yeah,
like a
they brought us to
junkyard,
like,
a
hey,
junkyard.
junkyard.
And they're like, this is it. And we're like, no, it's not.
No, not it.
yeah, because when I talked to the blondes, they were like, we were so lost that they didn't even have our security team or whatever with us. Like they completely left, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's.
I hate how it really depends on your taxi driver. Because if you have a sucky one, then you might lose, you know?
Well, was that really, obviously, I mean, this might be a stupid question. Was that really frustrating? Because you guys obviously like killed it in like every single challenge, but was it just really annoying, like getting to point A to point B? Because no offense to the other teams, I think you guys were easily one of the strongest, if not the strongest at challenges. Like you consistently,
Aw,
like.
Thank
Thanks.
you. But you knew our average. The three teams after us that got eliminated, our average was still higher than theirs.
Yeah.
Think about it. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I looked it up on the Amazing Race Wiki.
Oh, yep. So to even have a higher average with more teams, it's much more difficult. So the three teams that did get eliminated after us had lower averages from us by far, not by little like digits. So
Well, how
there you
excited,
go.
so how excited were you like doing the cello, like build an instrument roadblock? Because you guys obviously talked about how you have like experience with instruments, and a lot of the challenges like were kind of based off your strength, maybe by luck. So
Yeah,
how
but
excited-
I helped a lot of people. They didn't show that. I helped a lot of people aligning stuff like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. The blinds, they'll tell you. After I was done with everything, I helped Kaylin. You know, I stayed and helped her. So not only that, I felt strong and easy going through it. I had an electric guitar growing up. I wasn't that good. I was like, hey, you know, trying to go through it. But we were woodwind instruments in the marching band and symphonic band and concert band and jazz band growing up in high school.
Cool. So I forgot to ask this, but who did you initially bond with, like at the start of the race? And like obviously we didn't get to see you guys in any alliances, but were there like any teams that you like secretly like really liked? I saw Will and James like in a secret scene, like being like, Michelle is a queen and I want to be Michelle, and then
Yeah, we really bonded with them.
Yeah, we liked them a lot, but we didn't know that they were tight like that with everybody else because we thought it was a team, like a race just on your own. There's nothing like, oh, team up and help, because it was really early in the game until we realized, oh, hey, we were left out. But yeah, but you saw how the alliances went all throughout the whole end. You know, it is what it is. I wonder what it would have been like if we did have a little help.
So how were you guys so good at the bottle balance detour? Because honestly, that leg gives me like nightmares. Like if I was in the race with my partner who's like exact opposite of me, like 6'4", like really strong, and I'm just like kind of like Michelle, like very like high energy, like go, like bossing my partner around like in the best way possible.
I know. I was so worried. I was like, don't drop the bottle, you know, because I didn't
But I
know.
want to make it clear that I did not use my bun to balance the bottle. Like my head is like a cone shape. Like it was so hard to balance. But like if you look, like I have a big loose bun. There's no way that the bottle's resting on my bun. And everybody was saying on the internet.
Yeah, they're like,
no.
oh, Michelle's using her hair
And
to fix it. I was like,
they made me take off my headband because they're like, no headbands. And I was like, I wasn't even using my headband as anything. So that's why you see it around my neck.
it's kind of impossible to like use anything to go with it. I mean, have good balance. I was on the dance team and dance back in the day too. But you know, going through it, we were worried. I mean, I guess from working out and doing the Turkish get up with kettlebells helped really balance coming straight up and waiting. And it was a proud moment. I was so proud of you. It was
That's our
epic.
favorite moment.
Yeah, it was epic. I was worried. I was like, oh my God, because everybody's shaking, everybody's watching, and then I'm facing the other way. And then she got up and I was like, woo!
Yeah, well, it's funny because like when I saw those two tasks, I was like, nope, give me an express pass. I don't want to do any of them. Can you do like it was really cool just to see like how well you guys work together. But were you shocked that you were team number 2 because you were like 7th, like second to last coming out of
You saw my face.
I was like, whoa.
What?
I was like, hell no to the watermelons. I don't even like carrying a watermelon in. I buy the pre-cut from the grocery store.
So like what what did you think you were? Because I think I read somewhere like the bottle task or whatever, the detour wasn't the last task. You had to go somewhere else, and then you had to go to the pit stop or something. I think I read somewhere.
We went straight from the bottles
you
to
did?
the pit stop, and we actually.
No, are you talking about making the tea?
Oh no, it wasn't the tea. It was like you had to like you went to. I think I read somewhere like you went to the detour or whatever, or like you went to the detour and then you had to go to like, or you had some other route in that leg that you had to go to that wasn't shown, but it didn't really affect much or something.
No, they dropped us on the other corner where we had to run around the entire gate to get into see Phil, but we were running and we like saw the light at the end of the tunnel. It was awesome.
So what was your feeling going into the fifth leg? Because you guys actually kind of manifested in a way when Phil asked you on the mat, like during the fourth pit stop, he was like, where do you want to go? And you were like, Vietnam, a country in Asia, or somewhere that speaks French. So
yeah, everybody was hating on me because I said merci everywhere because we're Louisianan people. We're Cajuns. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Like, laissez le bon temps rouler. And it's like, it's a common thing to say merci everywhere over here. So they're like, oh, don't even use a correct language in the country. I was like, well, that's the same thing as saying thank you in anywhere else.
You just have to know her. She says merci for everything.
Yeah, and they're like hating on that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So at least I'm saying thank you. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with saying thank you anywhere. Just remember that.
yeah, so what was your feeling actually going into that leg? Because it, like in my mind, it would be like, oh my God, we finished in second. We're getting our stride. This is like made for us. We're manifested to win this leg. Like this is our time. So
Yeah, going into France, of course, but Tor flew through the picture thing so quickly.
Yeah, I did it in like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, she came out. I was like, what's wrong? What happened? You were disqualified. I was like, I didn't even take off all my gear, and I was still standing right there. I was like, what happened? She came in and out. I was like, you go, girl. And Aparna did it 14 times. Ooh, Lord.
yeah, I think he did it like 13 times or something like that. But so how cool is it like going to the French castle and seeing like that French scenery and all that stuff in the picture roadblock? Because I have a really good attention to detail, so I like it scares me to death because my partner who I would want to be in the race is like a baseball player, so like all those carnival stuff, like he would crush it, and then I have like a really good attention to detail, so I'm like, I could win this leg. Like if you put me on one leg of the race, I would win. But now I'm scared to death because you guys got eliminated on a leg that was kind of manifested for you. So, but how cool was,
I know, but
it's not because of the challenge.
it's not going to challenge. It's also we've asked like 9 different people for directions, and we were stuck in a different garage, the same brand for quite a while for getting out of it. There's a lot more to it. I'm in sales. I'm in the car world. I know how to drive. I know how to navigate, but we've had a very, very long leg. It was lesson learned from that. But we're sitting in the back seat and reading signs and going. It was a long flight going there. It was one of those things where you had a brain fart and exhausting.
The way that everything is set up over there, it's like, over here we have like street signs. Over there, everything's on the building. So you have to like look at each building for like the name and the number and all that stuff.
And we had like, everybody says, oh my God, like how dumb, lost for this long. I'm like,
we did not know that time flew by that fast.
No,
because we were like so focused, like trying
in
to
our minds, and it's like one of those things too. It's just like, hey, we're independent women. That's like, I'm in the newest cars with the best and navigation systems all day, or we have drivers going anywhere. It's like, hey, am I really supposed to know where to go? But in this situation too, it takes 2 to tango, and it was a long day. It was a very, very long, exhausting day. We even asked police officers. Like we asked locals going into the stores that were there, speaking with them, extremely fluent. They printed out maps for us, and it was just a flyby, driving by, flyby. It was a fast driving and bustling thing. And do they show? I'm a pro at driving a manual stick shift. I can double downshift and go at higher RPMs all day, but there's not an issue with driving. It was just like navigating and getting pushed all the way across town to a different area and going into a parking garage and going floor by floor by floor looking for a flag meticulously because we were told we couldn't leave. How are we supposed to leave without a credit card? Think about it. You go into a parking garage and like it is what it is, and we're at the same place. So we were kind of tied up for quite a while. That wasn't shown in there either. So you got to think about it. To be stuck somewhere for that long, you got to think something else was up. But hey, next time, there's not gonna be any issues next time.
Yeah. So you obviously asked for like directions a lot. Were you allowed to follow like a car? Would you be like, this is where we want to go, and like, can we follow you or something like that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, they changed that
I
rule?
know, yeah, in previous seasons you could do that, like hire a taxi and follow a taxi, but you can't do that anymore.
That sucks because I thought what they used to do was some people would even like get in the car themselves, like just like a random person, and be like, "This is where you need to go." So I guess they really changed that rule. So that really sucks. But did you guys just want to eat those pies? Because I would have been starving.
I was so
probably.
pissed off. They just slammed me in the face with the pie. I was like, they hit my face purposely. She had this big old smile the whole entire time. Like, they hit my face. And they're even like, and I was like tempted to throw my pie back, but
Yeah,
after,
I wanted to throw my pie.
yeah, and I was like,
oh, no,
oh,
keep
no,
on.
keep the pies. But from there, you smelled like cream the whole entire way the last time. So that was the end.
So how pissed off were you that not only that you figured out? So the next leg, the fourth leg wasn't on a limb, and then the sixth leg wasn't on a limb. Were you like really like screaming at producers like, "What the heck?"
Yes, like they got so lucky to get saved 2 times. Like, I would kill for that.
Yep. I mean, if we even got saved once, imagine how much further we would have gotten all the way around. But hopefully their second chance is to redeem yourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any fun sequester stories?
We're not supposed to really necessarily talk about that. Told say secrets.
Oh, you're not?
No.
So
You're not supposed to talk about it. I don't know if another team did not follow directions or, hey, talk about it, but you're not supposed to say anything about it or where we're at or what we did. You would get very much in trouble for that.
So I guess after sequester, like you figure out where the final leg is. How pissed were you that it was like on your home turf? Like, were you like, "What the heck? We're gonna invite these teams to dinner?" Or you were like, "What the?"
Yeah.
Oh,
First of all, I was really deadly sick. Like for the 3 days before that, I was like bedridden.
Victoria was bedridden. She had like the flu or cold. She was like fever, like coming back from overseas and on the flight and plane. It was bad. We kind of didn't get to mingle with a lot of teams after that. We were coughing up a storm, and it was not a good story for us coming back. We were very sick. We were on medication and high fever and all that stuff too for a while coming back.
Yeah,
Recovering.
so I guess you really couldn't absorb that it was in your hometown, and you're like really pissed because I mean, like eating beignets, like that's like piece.
Oh yeah, I would have been like beignet, like, hey, powder coat face. Mardi Gras, I would have been like showing like not titties, but I know how to get like attention. Be like, oh, show me some. That's like we grew up in Mardi Gras. I know that, man, those gridways in New Orleans. I know those like I know those roadways even under the influence of alcohol, like hardcore, even back in the day. Like, so that is our hometown. Piss is not the word. It hurt our hearts very, very much, you know. But hometown advantage is not always the best thing. So I rather, if there's another time to go around, we can definitely dominate that too, for sure.
Yeah,
More to experience different cultures than having the culture that we always get to experience every year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I interviewed one guy from season 1. He was in the final leg, and they were in his hometown, and they ended up getting second place because production was the first place team actually took the wrong train, or they were going to take the wrong train to the finish line. And then they saw production and some of the other cast that was going to like greet them at the finish line or whatever, and they switched trains, and he was like, I was so pissed.
Oh, wait, so they cheated?
They didn't cheat. They just saw production, and they saw like the other cast members like going on the correct train because they were going to take a train to Manhattan, which wasn't where the finish line was. And they were just going to take the wrong train. And the second place team was like really pissed off because they were only like a minute behind them, and they missed the train. So, I know you can't talk about sequester stories, but do you have any fun like pit stop stories, like in between legs or whatever?
No, we were trying to like wash our clothes and get sleep.
Oh yeah.
No fun time.
No fun time before. Like, hey, we just knew that we had a wash bag getting ourselves.
Oh well, after the Brazil leg, when we got on the boat, that was like a fun night.
Yeah.
Because we got to like eat like the fish dinner that they made us, and like just
down
go on the Amazon River,
just relaxing.
And, like, we had a big dance party with everyone. It was so fun.
So, were there any challenges? You obviously wish that you could run the whole leg, but was there any challenges where you're like, God damn it, we wish that we could have run that. We would have kicked everybody's like ass.
The music one with the flags, like the memory one, we would have flown through that like so fast. Like everybody's struggling, like
sauerkraut one, like
sauerkraut all day, but like the music task with the flags, like all day, because we're good with music and listening. And I even got it on the first.
And the coding one where they had to shoot the zeros and ones.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was like, I could do that.
But it's fun, looking through, hey, but you don't know what's like in the moment of racing, of doing stuff. But challenges is our thing. I think that we're very strong when doing that. We don't have any fears in a lot of things, but like when it comes down to breaking it down, and now we're closer and stronger together, I think that we would be like unstoppable. Yep, I think so. If we had to do it again, I think that we'd take it home.
Yeah, so you guys obviously forgot to ask this. You guys obviously said in the race that you weren't really close going into it. Was there like a moment or like a time in the race where like it really shifted? Or like, okay, like we're like getting a lot closer and a lot stronger. Was there maybe like a moment that we didn't get to see?
Underneath the table at the airport, it was so cold. We had to sleep. Victoria was like on top of me and hug. I was like, man, this is the closest I've ever.
I was like, Michelle, please lay on top of me because I was like freezing.
So cold.
Because we had to sleep in the Trinidad airport.
Freezing cold.
Like everyone was in the same room and it was
ice cold.
Ice cold. Even Gary was cold. Like he was freezing and he's normally hot.
Victoria and I were like
I was like shaking. I was like, Michelle, please.
I was like, dang. I was like, this is the closest. And then she was like trying to sleep on that too. It's like, hey, that was a turning moment.
No one slept.
Nope, no one slept. But
and
then
it was like the barrel thing the next, like when we woke up.
Leg. And then it's one of those things like, hey, I felt the closeness every single time we had eye contact. We got it. Let's go. And then from there, it's not trusting each other, but it's like, hey, having faith and proving us wrong.
When I was sick and we were on the plane, Michelle was like, you can lay on my lap. And so I was like, okay. So I laid on her lap and she was like rubbing my back. And I was like, oh my God.
I know, it was a moment. It was a moment of love, sisterly love. But now it's unbreakable. Like we're the closest and bestest ever that we are together. Look what Amazing Race did to us. We want to do it, take home the win and be like, y'all are the reason for the season. Hey, this is the reason why. Thank you for bringing us together and like having the, we have the smarts and going into it too. And now I have to talk to her every day. We text message, we have inside jokes. We're like, hey, what's up? I miss her more and more every day. So it's one of those things that we're inseparable now. I think that we could be unstoppable for sure.
So just talk about maybe as siblings, like how was it managing the dynamic? Like obviously I can see why you got cast because you were completely like different personality as far as like I've seen, as far as watching the shows. So like how was it like playing off of each other like as siblings? Like Victoria, you seem like somebody who's like keeping Michelle calm and kind of like the voice of reason, and then Michelle
she
go. So like what was that kind of like having that dynamic? Because obviously you said that they want to cast opposites and people with different personalities, but like how do you kind of deal with that? Like you obviously lived with each other your entire lives, but how do you deal with that, like being on a race, like you don't know what's going on, and like how are you able to maybe like overcome that?
I think it's good that we're opposites because it would not be good if we were like both like her or both like me, like
the same,
like balance each other out,
Exactly. And then you're smart. I totally believe in you, and like I need you for a lot of things, like Victoria, did you read it? Did you read the clue? Did you read it? like hey, you got the clue, you got the pouch, you got the money, did you convert the money? She did all that. I'm like the distractor. I'm like, hey, waving people down or getting attractions or distractions on it too, but I can't do it without her at all. No way.
So how, just a couple more questions. I forgot, how in the third leg when you finished the cooking roadblock, how annoying was it? Like you kept passing that clue and it seemed like you journeyed like so far away, and then you had to like, you thought you had to return these towels or something like that. And so how annoying was that, just like watching that montage of like 30 minutes, like still trying to find it?
It was hot. It was so hot. It was like we stopped. The reason why it was such a long time, they stopped us to make sure we cooled down and drank a Gatorade and that's why all of a sudden you saw those white towels on our necks, because they were waiting for me to drop. Like I was getting dizzy and I was like in the sand, like, ooh, yeah, it's not like we just walked around for 40 something minutes doing whatever. They stopped us to like, hey, cool us down. So that was in the timestamp too. So that's BS right there. Y'all didn't see that part.
I'm surprised you didn't want to take that vase and bash it over a canvas person's head, because that's what I would have done after like 40 minutes of running. I would be like, are you kidding me? It was
good.
Right there.
Yeah.
But just if you could change anything, like if you could go back and change anything, what would it be? Or like if you could go back and like have a new race, like what would you do differently maybe?
I think things happen for a reason, and hopefully we get another chance to prove us wrong on that. I don't think we would change anything because things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Will and James won, and that's a great answer. I wouldn't change it because, hey, lessons are learned from these opportunities, and hey, lesson learned from France, lesson learned from looking or feeling, not reading a clue, and that's how I stand. I wouldn't change. Met all these wonderful people that are on the team, and we're closer as could be. If you change one thing, it could change a lot of dynamics and future, outcomes on it, and I wouldn't change anything at all.
And then my last question is, if you could pick any partner other than, obviously, you guys, who would you race with and why?
I would race with Will.
I would race with Will.
That's interesting. Then who would race with James?
James?
I would race with James too.
Yeah, James and you would go well.
Me and Will just like,
y'all
just
cool,
like,
calm, collective. But James, if James and I race together, it would be like, whoa, and like be too dramatic. Who would be able to calm him down? Who'd be calm me? And then I'll get emotional, and then
But
you'll
then
get.
maybe I should race with James.
Yeah, you be
and
more
race with
James.
Will.
I'm more with Will, where he's like,
I love James too.
yeah, I love Will and James. Definitely love them. For
Oh,
sure.
That makes sense,
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I forgot. So I don't know what season you guys watched before The Amazing Race, but obviously The Yield was like an older school twist before the U-turn and stuff like that. So did you guys know what it was before the race, and were you excited to see it maybe back as like a game mechanic?
Yeah, we knew what it was,
Yeah,
and
but we didn't use
found
it.
a 20-minute yield, but we just didn't use it.
Opportunity to use it.
I mean, we did, but we didn't use it.